Association initiatives. How far does it go? How deep does it go? How far does it reach? Who does it impact?
Jesse, it's so important. I mean, when I joined Blind Welfare Association, I didn't realize how many blind persons we have in St. Lucia because many of those persons are hidden. Some persons still today keep their family members home. And so one of the core things that St. Lucia Blind Welfare is responsible for or wants to address in St. Lucia is the prevention of blindness. And that Kids Inside program that we speak of does exactly that. It is expensive. Eye care is extremely expensive, and because a number of persons can't afford it, their eyesight will be lost as a result. And so this program is extremely important. And who does it affect? It affects the average child in a classroom who cannot see the board and may not understand that they have an eye condition. And so they may have a learning deficiency, and we're addressing that. We're addressing persons who are born with illnesses that they cannot address and their eyesight is affected. It affects persons who are suffering from issues of probably violence and their children are affected. It really affects every section of society, and it doesn't matter the strata. This program touches everyone. And what has been so instructive to me is that a number of persons have come up to me, persons who are well-to-do in society, and they've actually said, this program came to us at a particular time and helped me have a better quality of life, and I will always be grateful to SLBWA for this program. And so we will continue this program. And one thing about SLBWA is that it doesn't matter if we don't have the money now, we're going to work hard because we're not afraid to beg. We're begging for our improvement in our society, for the betterment of society, because your eyes are your vision to the rest of your world, and if you're not able to see, then it produces a limitation. But that limitation should not stop you or prevent you, and that's where we kick in. That we actually tell persons and help empower them that your vision, that's all you've lost. Everything else is working for you, and so you can achieve. And we have persons who have gone through being blind, gone into their master's program. We have children right now who've written CXC and done extremely well. They've written the CPEA, it's called now. They've done extremely well because we now have what they call VEST teachers, Vision Education Support Teachers. And so they actually identify some of those children, the needs as well. This program is so important to St. Lucia because we're doing it for persons who cannot afford this expensive treatment. And the professionals that are coming down, these persons are giving of their time for free. What we're asked to do is help support them to ensure that we could have a place to house them, provide them with transportation and the like, and they're giving that service for free. So this is tremendous, and I hope that we, St. Lucia, could assist SLBWA, because we're not beggars, but we're reaching out and we are saying we need help so that we could help those most in need.
You're seeking collaborators.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, if that doesn't tug on people's heartstrings, I don't know what will. And you indicated that persons from all strata are drawn to the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association for assistance in one way or another. I tell people I didn't grow up rich, I didn't grow up poor, but I grew up fortunate because of organizations like the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, Mr. Averill, because I recall in 2004, just before 2004, I had to sit my examinations for common entrance. I required services from the Kids Inside project, and I remember going up the steps of the Castries market upstairs there and getting tested and everything, and it was a surreal experience for me because there is an organization that is able to assist. So I definitely stand grateful, Mr. Averill, for that assistance from the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, and I will continue to advocate for the improved conditions of persons who are living with blindness and visual impairment here on island as long as I am able. So not only provision of glasses and just the basic tests, but speak to us, Mr. Averill, about the range of services that will be provided through the Kids Inside project.
Well, let me say what a powerful testimony, Jesse, that you have given. The Kids Inside, as the name goes, its focus is on kids, children. It helped to strengthen our pediatric ophthalmic service for children. Children have the rest of their lives. So every time you intervene, either to arrest further deterioration of sight or where possible, save a child's eyesight, you are giving him, her, a new outlook, a new opportunity for the rest of his whole life. And the range of services that we have benefited from the Kids Inside project is huge. There are children with terrible drooping eyelids and all kinds of defects around their eyes and their face, some of which are cosmetic, which it affects them psychologically. And children with more blinding conditions and diseases that if you do not address it, that they would lose their eyesight. They have been able to address these problems. Before, we used to send a bunch of children to the United States under the program. But then, during the course of time, they decided that it's better to help us to acquire the capacity to address it here, so that they will, between themselves and the Caribbean Council for the Blind and Visually Impaired, we were able to acquire not only diagnostic equipment but also surgical equipment, and equipped the Victoria Hospital at the time. And now it has been transferred to the OKEU, and that's where, when our doctors come, that's where they will be doing their stuff, whatever it takes. But there has been some good spin-off from the Kids Inside too, because some adults have benefited. Again, as President Simon said, eye care and eye health, maintaining good eye care and eye health is extremely expensive. And there's a variety of needs that requires, skilled. And that there's some of the spin-off. We had through the Kids Inside, we were able to have a glaucoma program where we were treating people with laser therapy as an alternative to medication. Hundreds of persons benefited from this program, and the list goes on and on. So, while we do have a local eye clinic here, and so we are very fortunate in that way, because they follow up. Because after the specialized people come in and they do their stuff, you must have the capacity to follow up, to provide that follow-up support. And we have a team at the SLBWA, which is called Eye Care St. Lucia, which is second to none. Okay? So we are very fortunate that way, and we want to say thank you to you in St. Lucia for your help, the St. Lucia public, the government, and the friends and associates who have all pitched in the Caribbean Council. But I'll continue mentioning the Caribbean Council for the Blind and Visually Impaired, because whatever we have accomplished in St. Lucia, a lot of the credit must be given to the Caribbean Council for the Blind, and who've been able to help us access support from outside of St. Lucia, like from Sight Savers and the other agencies in the United States and in Europe and so on. So it's an effort that brings into play a number of players, a number of partners, and it will be a loss to St. Lucia if we are not able to maintain that level of service. Okay.
What are the dates? When will the team arrive in St. Lucia?
This year is a short visit. They are here from the 6th to the 12th of October. Okay. Very short, but it's well packed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we are due for our first break. When we come back, part of the collaboration involves the Lions Clubs of St. Lucia, and we have the Lions Club of Grosselet here with us in studio. They're here to make a presentation, a check presentation towards the Kids Inside project. So we're getting the ball rolling. When we come back after this break, we will let you know how you can make a donation through the Save a Sight fundraising campaign. Do stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Michelle. Did you know that 1.5% of the total population in St. Lucia are blind and vision impaired people? Life for the blind and vision impaired can be challenging if they are not properly equipped or supported. This is why the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association and JICA are working together to identify these individuals. If you know someone who is blind or vision impaired, please contact us via telephone, email, or our Facebook page.
The world's climate is changing, and that affects all of us. Storms are becoming increasingly intense. Periods of intense drought and heavy rain stress farm animals and destroy our crops. Higher average ocean temperatures kill our coral reefs and change the migratory patterns of fish. St. Lucia contributes only 0.0015% of global greenhouse gas emissions, but is doing its part, along with countries around the world, to reduce the emissions that are warming our world and changing our climate. These efforts are called mitigation. But decades of emissions have already changed the climate, and the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere today will increase average global temperatures even more. We need to adapt, that is, do everything we can to prepare for and respond to the actual and expected negative effects of climate change, and everyone has a role to play. We need to protect our crops, build homes that withstand storms, and keep our drains and waterways free of garbage to help us recover or bounce back from climatic events. Learn more about the Government of St. Lucia's National Adaptation Plan and the steps you can take to protect yourself and your fellow St. Lucians.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. We are coming to you live from Castries with a special broadcast of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association from the GIS studios. My name is Jessie Leonce, if you're just joining us, and we have been speaking about the latest initiative of the Blind Welfare Association, and that is the fundraising campaign, the Save a Sight fundraising campaign for the Kids Insight project. And of course, many of you, I hope, would be familiar with the Kids Insight project by now. It has its beginnings in as early as 2003 here in St. Lucia, with a team of experts from the United States coming to this island to help children who have blinding health conditions to see how they can improve their health conditions. And we know that varies from everything from surgery to diagnostics, testing, provision of glasses, corrective eyewear, and so on. So the Kids Insight project, its importance cannot be overemphasized. We are essentially really ecstatic, enthusiastic about the resumption of the Kids Insight project here in St. Lucia. It'll be happening in October, and as a result, we want to raise some funds to ensure that the experts who are coming have all the resources that they require to provide this much needed service for St. Lucia's children in need. We started off the program with engagement with Mr. Anthony Averill, the Executive Director of the Blind Welfare Association, as well as Mr. Glenn Simon, President of the Association. And now we've exchanged Mr. Simon for a gentleman from the Lions Club of Gros Islet, and he is the President of the Lions Club of Gros Islet, Mr. Keris Smith. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And I will open the floor to you. Tell us why you are here. What is the reason for you joining the live broadcast of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association?
Again, thanks for having me. I'm really here representing the Lions Club of Gros Islet and, by extension, the Lions Club of St. Lucia, because we have partnered with the Blind Welfare Association since 2003 when this began, as you guys pointed out. And every year we make a cash donation. This is something that means a lot to us. The Lions Club International was actually challenged by Helen Keller, American author, back in 1925 to become the Knights for the Blind. We took that on, and globally all of the clubs make their contribution, do their part to help with projects like this one. Of course, our kids, our elderly are very, very much the focus. Those are most in need. And so the club is very, very happy to be a part and to, at this time, lend our voice let our friends know that this is one of our projects, and finally make a donation to the cause.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about, give us the figures for this year's donation. We want to know what we're working with here. It's for the kids.
It is for the kids, and we are very, very pleased to present $10,000 to the Blind Welfare Association and this venture, Kids in Sight. It is funds that we have been raising. We have our primary fundraiser is a golf tournament.
Okay.
We will be having another one in February. I'm saying so now. Come out, polish the clubs. And we raise funds through that and other projects for ventures like this one.
Okay, understood. Mr. Averill, we're hearing $10,000 being donated toward the Kids Insight project through the Save a Sight fundraising campaign. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel that I should be playing golf a little more often.
Yes. Yes,
By the way, there is golf for the blind as well. So that's one of the things that one of these days we hope we can introduce to St. Lucia.
Sure.
But no, let's be serious here. The Lions clubs, they have been having the individual fundraisers and they do their best to help support the cause, this project in particular. Now, you find that the last couple years has been quite challenging. And for the Grosley Club to be able to make a $10,000 contribution, to me, it's quite significant. Now, of course, we need more. That's why we have this fundraiser, Save a Sight. And we are hoping that it would encourage St. Lucians to reach out and support the cause. The Lions' relations with the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, as Mr. Smith says, going back many, many years. But in St. Lucia itself, as it relates to the eye program, in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, we had what was called there was a VOSH program that used to come every year, and at that time we used to donate used glasses, but that when the Sight Savers and the Caribbean Council for the Blind commissioned a study, which the result of which says that large segment of the Caribbean population cannot afford eye care, a decision was made for the various agencies of the Caribbean Council for the Blind to include curative aspects of eye health and eye care in their program. And that's when the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association decided to form the eye clinic called Eye Care St. Lucia in the early 2000s. And prior to this, the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association and the Caribbean Council for the Blind, we have been training ophthalmic specialists, but that we were training them, and some of them gave good service as part of government service, but most of them would have their own private practices. And then at that point we said, well, look, we'll continue training, but this time let us train for our cause. And a number of specialists will have been trained since. And so that relationship then was also the Lions, they decided, well, look, then this is taking it, upgrading the ladder here, and we are not going to be left out. So they have continued to partner with us, which we are very grateful for, because you have serious eye care needs in the school system. Thanks to the outreach program we have in the schools, in collaboration with the ministries of health and education and so on, we are able to catch the children as early as possible. So the Kids Inside certainly focus on children, And through spin-off, we also provide some assistance to needing adults. But the St. Lucia Eye Care Program, Eye Care St. Lucia, we have a comprehensive eye clinic dealing with the whole spectrum of eye care and eye health in St. Lucia. Current eye health officer is Nurse June Francis, and she certainly has ensured that all the arrangements are made, but we need the resources to be able to deliver. And that's where the Lions come in, and that's where all the partners of SLBWA come in, and that's where you, the general public, come in.
And speaking of the general public coming in, we have at the moment, well, since the launch of the Save a Sight campaign, fundraising campaign, we have distributed to our membership several sheets. They're not your typical sponsor sheets. They each have what I would describe as a card in the shape of an eye, and it has your space for a name, it has space for a telephone number, and it has the amount that is being donated, the minimum of which is that we're requesting is $5 per donation. And we would really appreciate if everyone, you may not have come in contact with a member of the association to make your donation, but you could always call our offices and let them know that you're interested and drop off your donation to be part of this initiative, the Kids Insight initiative. Just final question to you, Mr. Smith, before we have this whole shebang presentation. We understand that you brought along with you a really big check. I love it for the optics. But I know that, like the Blind Welfare Association, organizations like yours would have also been impacted by the pandemic. How has the recovery process been in terms of continuing, resuming, resuscitating your initiatives?
Well, that is very, very true. It impacted all of us greatly. During the downtime, if I call it that, our funding was severely impacted. We experienced a large reduction, and so quite a few things were not as fruitful as we wished. But we have had some stalwart partners. The SLHTA comes to mind, for instance. They have been steady. They have been fantastic partners. Especially for this project, actually, it was through one of their donations that we, in turn, are able to pay forward toward this project. Otherwise, we have had to re-strategize. Some of our partners had been able to give larger sums prior to 2019, or up until 2019. We have understood that funding their own revenues are down, and as such, we gladly accept a reduced amount, and we have had to grow our network. So if perhaps we had 12 sponsors, we have had to up to 20 or 24, and accepting perhaps half of what we'll have prior, we are still able to meet some of our needs. On top of that, there are also outreaches to the general public, corporate, but also our community, our friends and family. They always step in, and like you, with a minimum of $5, $5 a number of times helps. So we're always happy for that.
Absolutely. Well, on behalf of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, we are utterly, I express utmost gratitude to you, to your organization for this donation, given the circumstances that we are now globally recovering from. Yes. We do appreciate the effort. A time now for the presentation. We have Mr. Simon who will hand us over the check. So we're going to take a short break. That's what I'm getting? Okay, so let's take a short break. When we come back, we will do the presentation. The Lions Club of Gros-Islet makes a $10,000 donation to the Kids Insight project, the first of many donations under the Save a Sight fundraising campaign toward this effort. Stay with us.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, Think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated. We know what to do. Get vaccinated. COVID-19 we won't lose to you. Oh no. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Time for a brand new day. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. To live and work and play. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. The health experts we trust. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Let's take our life back with a safe and effective AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. The mobile vaccination drive is coming to you. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages for more information. Let's take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and this station.
Okay, perfect.
Great. So on behalf of the Lions Club of Rosalie, we would graciously present you with this check of $10,000 toward the Kids in Sight 2022 campaign. It has been our pleasure to do this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, we'd like to thank you for all your hard work over the years and especially during this COVID period where it has been most difficult. So $10,000 is like $100,000 at this time. And so we hope that we continue that collaboration, continue working in the best interest of not just SLBWA but St. Lucians and St. Lucian children. And you have been doing an excellent job, the Lions Club of Rosalie. Please continue to work with us.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now photo ops.
Okay, so now we are going to go to another short break so that we can get everyone offset and back to our regular programming. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Michelle. Did you know that 1.5% of the total population in St. Lucia are blind and vision impaired people? Life for the blind and vision impaired can be challenging if they are not properly equipped or supported. This is why the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association and JICA are working together to identify these individuals. If you know someone who is blind or vision impaired, please contact us via telephone, email, or our Facebook page.
The world's climate is changing, and that affects all of us. Storms are becoming increasingly intense. Periods of intense drought and heavy rain stress farm animals and destroy our crops. Higher average ocean temperatures kill our coral reefs and change the migratory patterns of fish. St. Lucia contributes only 0.0015% of global greenhouse gas emissions, but is doing its part, along with countries around the world, to reduce the emissions that are warming our world and changing our climate. These efforts are called mitigation. But decades of emissions have already changed the climate, and the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere today will increase average global temperatures even more. We need to adapt, that is, do everything we can to prepare for and respond to the actual and expected negative effects of climate change, and everyone has a role to play. We need to protect our crops, build homes that withstand storms, and keep our drains and waterways free of garbage to help us recover or bounce back from climatic events. Learn more about the Government of St. Lucia's National Adaptation Plan and the steps you can take to protect yourself and your fellow St. Lucians.
Yes, it's an overlay. No. thank you so much for staying tuned. The week has started off on a good note. The St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association is the recipient of a $10,000 donation from the Lions Club of Grosley to go towards the upcoming Kids Insight project. And this initiative, I mean, many of you should be familiar with this initiative by now. It has had a presence in St. Lucia since 2003, providing services for children in need, children who are living with blinding health conditions. And we are just so happy that despite the pandemic, despite that downtime, as the president of the Leo Club indicated, we are able to resume and to continue the good work toward the improvement of persons living with blindness and visual impairment. At this time, for this segment, we want to take a look back at the Blindness Awareness Month activities. And it has been, it has been quite extensive, I should say, in terms of the work that we were able to accomplish. We were able to engage persons who are blind, visually impaired, as well as the sighted in a meaningful way, and pushing a lot of our awareness activities as much as possible. As Mr. Averill indicated, we did push some sports for Blindness Awareness Month, as well as some other activities. I now want to welcome on set Mr. Rodney Maxius, first Vice President of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, who led the charge for Blindness Awareness Month. So we're looking a little bit at the past as well as things that are to come. And before we went, well, just before we came to this segment, you saw some scenes of our blind domino matches. So that was one of the activities for Blindness Awareness Month. Rodney, how are you?
I am doing great. Morning have turned out well. $10,000 towards Kids Insight.
I know, right?
Yes.
That's what it's all about. You know, being able to mobilize and get things done, get resources and everything needed for the people who need it most. Taking a look back at Blindness Awareness Month, I am more than what you see. We were able to push some activities to really bring out, Rodney, the fact that St. Lucians living with blind conditions, visual impairment, they are not just their condition. Speak to us about that agenda for Blindness Awareness Month.
Okay, thank you so much, Jesse, and good morning to all. This year, Blindness Awareness, we looked at inclusion and independence, hence the theme, I am more than what you see. Because the blinding eye condition or the eye condition visual impairment, it's only one facet of a life. That person has so much to offer in terms of the intellect, and you know when one aspect of your life is affected, your intellect is enhanced, especially with our members. We see that at the Blind Welfare. So this year we wanted to push a lot of inclusion and independence. So we had a retreat where our members, 25 of our young members, they came together and we brought different professionals in the field, talking about owning their business, thinking positive about themselves, taking care of their own bodies, and planning a way forward. We also had something in terms of sports, table tennis, which is something that was introduced eons ago to St. Lucia. But for some reason, it never continued, and we brought that back.
Nice.
Because the entire idea is to have persons who are visually impaired participate in everyday activities. And table tennis for the blind is not only played by the blind. The sighted can join in as well, which is why we are so excited. So you can have a friendly competition among the sighted. And I will tell you, Jesse, I played against a blind person, and guess what? I lost. And my eyes were wide open, Jesse. And I was not being modest. I really tried to win. So in that kind of spirit, you can see the inclusion taking place.
Yeah.
So it's not like we want blind persons to only play with blind persons. We look at the blind dominoes, which was referenced earlier.
If we could get some overlay of that.
And the blind dominoes, it's not about blind people playing with themselves or by themselves. It's about playing in community, in your community bar, when you have your social events with your family. Because it's no sense being alone. And And being blind, you actually sometimes you feel isolated because you don't see what's around you.
Yeah.
But if you can play, you can socialize with one another.
Inclusivity is more than just, economic and earning.
Yeah, it is.
It's more than that. I mean, I had the opportunity to cover my eyes with the apparatus you gave me, Rodney.
Yes.
when we all convened at the town hall in Castries for the blind dominoes, and we often try to push the idea of blindfolding yourself in an office or at your home to see what it's like to be a blind person or someone who has visual impairment. But even these games help us to be more empathetic to persons who have these conditions, because even these what we would consider mundane, everyday, not extraordinary activities like playing a game in your community, out in the yard, these things, really have when you get to see the difference, with a blind visual impaired person, then you could get a greater appreciation for what the life that they are living, So I definitely appreciated being able to do that, and it was fun. It added another element to the game, and I think it upped the ante for competitive, play, so to speak. Yeah.
And the idea was twofold, not only to allow persons to play dominoes with their sighted pairs, but like you said, to put yourself in someone who is blind shoes. And then, because even you could be a master player at dominoes, but this added element of a loss of sight gives you a great appreciation of what you have. So now those persons who played with us at the City Hall and down in Vifort Opico are now advocates on behalf of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare because of that experience. And it was a wonderful experience.
Absolutely. So speak to us about, lessons learned from Blindness Awareness Month. What are we looking forward to refining in the new year? And I'm even opening that question to you, Mr. Averill. What are you set on us achieving in terms of public engagement and awareness education activities surrounding Blindness Awareness Month for 2023?
Well, sorry, very good question. We, of course, Blindness Awareness Month 2022 is held under the pandemic pressure, and the program has been seriously disrupted for the past couple of years. Just when we were about raising our head, because we went through a serious downturn in 2017 to 2019, and as we were about just coming out of that, then the pandemic hit. One of the things that we learned and we realized, we have been giving some thought to decentralize the association, although we are in community and we have been serving around the island, but it's still very much Castries. Everything has to begin and emanating out of Castries, so that we are going to be pushing, making a serious move to establishing chapters in strategic locations around the island, so where people do not have to come all the way to Castries to access services. So that's where we are at with that. We also realize that the work of sensitizing and educating the community with regard to the need for an inclusive society, which includes people regardless of their vision status, their physical vision status, we still have a long way to go. And let me just give you a little example. We managed to secure job placements for 2 of our clients. And just as we were about to celebrate, one of them was let out because of issues involving the staff of that company. So we realized, look, it's not only about sensitizing management, educating management, you also have to reach out to to employees of various establishments in a much more focused way, you know. So this has sort of upped the ante and extend the challenge, because we have to understand the culture in which we of the society where we exist. The fact that people have grown to have very low expectation of someone if you are affected by a serious vision problem, that you have to really help to open people's eyes. So the surgeries that we are performing in the hospitals, in our eye clinic and so on, is not enough. Mm-hmm. Not enough. We need to perform more mind surgeries, spiritual surgeries to liberate people from being a prisoner of tradition, of the culture. You need to try to get rid of many anomalies in the culture. It's not only about the music, bram, 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 bram. No. The culture is the way of life of a people. So there is a challenge for us, and there is a challenge to every agency which is involved in shaping culture.
Thank you very much for that.
Just to extend on that point, and this is what that came out of the month of activities. We had lots of activities, and the participation from our community, it was low, especially in the out districts. And we don't think that those persons who are blind or visually impaired didn't want to come. It's just that they rely on other family members who may not see the importance or the need for their own recreational activities to bring them along. So yes, we have to go into community. We have to try to change mindsets. So it's a lot of work going forward to not only working on the individual, making them independent, but also the society, to making them accept that all of us belong and all of us have a need to perform different activities, be it employment, recreation, security needs. So we are each other's keeper. At the Blind Welfare, we just have to take it up and bring it to the community and ensure that everybody is on board with that vision.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. I know that we do have the mapping initiative to reach more of these individuals, yes. And of course we can engage them meaningfully so that there can be attitudinal changes, not with only persons living with blindness and visual impairment, but also the people who are around them in the communities. We have run out of time. I just want to say thank you to everyone involved in this morning's live broadcast. Thank you very much, Mr. Averill. Thank you, Rodney Maxius, Glenn Simon, President of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, as well as the Lions Club team of Grosselet. They came through, and not only coming through, they came bearing, exactly what we are working toward, which is a donation of $10,000 towards the Kids Insight project. So we thank them very much for that. And we thank you, our viewers, for taking a look, taking a listen into what we are doing at the Blind Welfare Association. I leave final words to you, Mr. Averill, briefly, before we take leave for a feature of ours.
Yes, indeed. I want to thank the GIS, NTN, and the media houses, which I'm sure this will be shared with, and hoping that they will give it some good airing for us. And to say to you, St. Lucians, we are trying to ensure that these cards and sheets and so on would be shared around the island. So we are looking to you to really support it, participate, contribute. Nothing is too small, nothing is too large.
Thank you very much, Mr. Averill. Again, do make a donation. You may not have yet come in contact with a member of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association who has those sheets. Rest assured, we're going to find you. But if you have not come upon us yet, you could reach out to the office, the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association office, to make your donation. Stop by. We would like to have a conversation with you to find out how you can partner with us at an even greater level, because we know St. Lucia is very enthusiastic about helping those less fortunate than themselves. themselves. So with that, I take my leave. My name is Jessie Leon, signing off for now. Thank you so much for watching. I now want you to take a look at the feature that we prepared from one of our members. She had us sit down with us, speaking to us about the Be My Eyes app. And this application is it's important for many reasons. Chiefly, we have persons who are blind, visually impaired, not only in St. Lucia, but around the world, who require assistance from time to time, and it requires volunteers. And this application has enabled persons the world over to receive and to provide services around the whole blind, visually impaired situation. So take a look at that video, and we end with that. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
So my name is Stacia Jules, and I am totally blind, a totally blind member of the blind and visually impaired community of St. Lucia. Be My Eyes app is an app that gives you a second pair of eyes, a working pair of eyes, because some of us, during our day, we want to prepare something, maybe a meal, and then you have no idea what a particular can is or a package of something. So instead of maybe calling over to the neighbor or getting a family member who might be a bit busy, you can actually use the app, and the volunteers will tell you exactly what that item is. So they lend you their eyes. So the person who founded Be My Eyes, his name is Hans Georgen Weinberg, and he has an eye condition which is retinitis pigmentosa. So I guess he had to suffer like me to figure out what different things are, so he came up with that app. You can use Be My Eyes they tell you the color of something, they give you an idea of how to maybe set up a small appliance at home, read out your prescriptions, read out your snacks, whatever you wanted them to read, they can do that for you. And it's available in at least 180 languages. So you can have a primary language and a secondary language. And the app can be used at any time, because over the world there are different time zones. So if a blind person in St. Lucia at midnight wanted to figure out something, you can actually make a call. It wouldn't be disturbing. You can call at any time. Sighted persons, they get to sign up on the app as a sighted volunteer, and you must have a smartphone, either Apple or Android, and then you get a call. After you've placed all your details in there, you can just get a call. This Be My Eyes has 3 million, approximately 3 million volunteers at the moment, and just a couple 100,000 of blind users, blind or no vision users. I've used the app a couple of times when I've gone to the supermarket, and I am usually, if I'm on my own, I try to figure out what's on the aisle. I ask the volunteers, if I'm looking for juice, I like peanut punch, so I go to that aisle. I have them to take me to that aisle, and then I show them the different boxes, and then they help me choose the one that I want.